Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a little book unhaul, or I guess rather not so little. It is, I don't know, moderately sized. I went through my bookshelves once again to find books that I have had for several years and I'm probably just not going to get to, or that I'm just like no longer interested in or no longer interested in keeping, but I have read them. Alright, so I have We Speak in Storms. I don't remember what this one was about. I bought this a couple years ago and haven't gotten to it yet. And at this point, I just have other things I want to prioritize reading. So I'm gonna give this one to the used bookstore. I am finally going to Unhaul Verify. This one almost made it into my last Unhaul, but then I decided to keep it. And now at this point, I just don't think I'm gonna get to this. A lot of these I'm unhauling mostly because like my reading preferences have changed and what I enjoy reading has changed in the last year or so. So I've really developed exactly what I like to read, and I'm not gonna waste my money or my time anymore on books that I'm just not super interested in. Next I have The Art and Power of Acceptance. I bought this. This is nonfiction. I don't know, not that long ago, maybe last year, and I just don't think I'm gonna want to read this. At the time when I bought this, I thought I was gonna read it right away because it was kind of honestly a book that I really needed, but now I just don't feel like I need to read it or want to read it, so I'm gonna unhaul it. And then I'm unhauling my Diviners books. I think I have like 3 of them. I don't know how many are in the series, honestly. I have never read it. At this point, it's an older series. I know it's highly rated and a lot of people really liked it, but I have had bad success with books that were from like the early 2000s that a lot of people read when they came out and really liked. Reading them now, for some reason, a lot of them just don't hold up, and I think I just missed my time with these. So I'm gonna unhaul these. You'll see a couple more and I'll just kind of show them. But yeah, the Diviner series is gonna go. I'm gonna unhaul The Invasion of the Tierling and The Fate of the Tierling. This one, I've almost unhauled this twice now. I liked the first book, but honestly, it was maybe like just okay. And I have not heard great things about the rest of the series. And honestly, the biggest thing pushing me to unhaul these and not finish the series is just the fact that I have so many other fantasy series that I would rather read. So yeah, for that reason, I'm gonna take these to the used bookstore. This is a very controversial trade-in, I am aware. Okay, so the last time I went to the used bookstore and took some trades in, I mostly took comic books, and then I took Oathbringer, because I DNF'd it about, I don't know, 60-70% of the way through. A little backstory on the Stormlight Archive for me is when I first read Way of Kings, I DNF'd it maybe 75% of the way through. Didn't think anything of it. Was like, this series is just not for me. And then almost a year later, I decided I was going to try again, pick it back up, kind of skim read up to where I was so I knew what was going on, and then actually really liked Way of Kings toward the end. I really liked the second book, Words of Radiance. Yeah. Favorite, like, I loved that book last year. And then this year, I started out my year trying to read Oathbringer. Didn't go so well for me. I know Oathbringer is kind of, even people who really like the series didn't like it as much. I ended up DNFing it, like I said, and I have decided that the Stormlight Archive is just not for me. So I'm going to DNF the whole series, and I'm just not going to try anymore. I know it's really controversial, so I don't think I pre-ordered this when it came out, but I did buy it shortly after it released, and I am going to unhaul Rhythm of War. I have it in the hardback, which is beautiful, stunning, and I was really excited to read this until I read Oathbringer, and I just can't. I can't. The length of these books, I could go into a whole rant, but I'm not going to. I know a lot of people love this series, and I do really like some of his other books. I just, I don't know, man. Stormlight Archive is just not for me, I guess. Yeah, so whoever buys this from the used bookstore is going to be really excited because they almost never have any Sanderson because people buy it so fast. So yeah, congratulations to whoever picks this up. And then I am going to unhaul The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst. I just finished this. I just don't like it enough to keep it on my permanent collection. It was fine, honestly. It was great. Maybe, I think I give it like a 4. I don't know, it was pretty campy. It wasn't entirely what I was expecting. I did like it. I did like the characters, so, and that's a big thing for me. If I don't like characters in a book, then it's just, that's kind of what happened with Stormlight, honestly. I didn't connect with a lot of the characters, so I just gave it up. Yeah, so I'm gonna unhaul this. And yeah, it's not that I didn't like it, it's just that I just don't want to keep it. I'm finally going to unhaul Furyborn. I bought this many years ago at this point, and I've never even opened it to read it, so I'm just gonna finally part with it. I've held on to it thinking it was really interesting, and honestly, I'm kind of over the whole, like, several queens fighting thing, kind of with the Queen of the Tierling. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about, like, the Tierling trilogy as well. Like, I'm just kind of over the whole, like, queens battling it out thing. Okay. And then I am going to unhaul Altered Carbon. I bought this used. Just because I was trying to get into a little more sci-fi. I liked the show. And honestly, I've watched the show and now I'm like, I'm not going to read this. So I'm going to part with it. And then I'm going to trade in The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. I have several of her books. If you like self-help books, you know, that type of thing. She is a good author. So... But I've read this, and I kept it for a while because honestly, this is a really great book. If you're going through like perfectionism type stuff, but I'm just gonna part with it because I don't need it anymore. This book almost made it into my last unhaul, but then I just decided to keep it for a little while longer and think about it. Empress of All Seasons. Another one that I bought a couple years ago and I just never got around to reading it, and now at this point I'm just prioritizing other things. Okay, this next one is my other controversial pick, and it kind of pains me. So the next one is an entire series. It's not finished, but I don't know if I'm gonna bother reading the last book. Oh boy. This series used to be one of my favorites, and the last book that released, I know it's kind of a complicated issue from what I've read, because a lot of it was pushed from the publisher side, so she had to cut a lot of stuff out of the book. I just was not a fan of the last book that just came out. It was like last year, and it was really disappointing, to be honest with you. I got like to the last like 2 or 3 chapters and then skim read because I just didn't care. And it wasn't a good time for me. I was really sad. So I'm going to trade in my Witchlands series by Susan Dennard. Yeah, I've decided I just don't want to keep these. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to read the last book or not. That was Witch Shadow. Was the last one that came out, but I don't know, kind of sad, but I felt like I just need to part with them. They're not, I look at them on my shelf and I get depressed because the last book was so poo-poo for me. So someone else can enjoy these beauties. If anybody's curious, oddly enough, my favorite book in the series is Wind Witch. Yeah. So I feel like that says a lot about what I want in a book. But the first 2 books were really good. Sight Witch was really good. Blood Witch was okay. I like Adwin. But yeah, he's like probably my second favorite character. I don't know. I really like Isolde, but like, god damn. This last book was hard for me to get through. Yeah. So I don't even know if I'm going to bother like finishing the series at this point because I'm worried the next book or whatever will be equally disappointing. Yeah. So I'm gonna unhaul all these bitches, and I'm depressed about it. And then I've got Before the Devil Breaks You, Lair of Dreams. Told you I had the other 2. I'm finally going to unhaul The Last Magician. This is another one I've had on my shelf and just kind of thought about it for a long time, because I know the series is pretty good from what I hear, but I am just ready to let it go. And then I have two that I'm not sure if I'm going to unhaul or if I'm going to keep. I've hung on to these books for literal years, but the premise just sounds so cool that I'm like, really? And I don't see anybody talk about them. And there's like 2 other books in this series now. So I'm still really curious, and I think I might hang on to these, but they might end up going. I don't know. I'm so conflicted. And that is Wake of Vultures and Conspiracy of Ravens. Yeah, then there's Malice of Crows, and I think there's another one out. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. These, I don't know if they're gonna go or not, but I wanted to put them on here in case they do. And if anybody has read them, let me know what you thought, because I am conflicted. It sounds so cool, but it could just be really not up my alley, so I don't know. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you read any of these books that I, said I didn't read, let me know what you thought of them. I'm really curious. Please don't tear me apart for my Stormlight Archive dislike. It is just kind of my opinion. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. And if you like this video, consider subscribing and please give it a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.